No, that's right. It's a lot of stuff going on in the geek and nerd sphere. But one of the biggest reasons I brought on Jaron is because Jaron listened to the show last week, and he heard your captain list and rankings for Star Trek. And him being a huge Trekkie himself, he was like, "That list is bullshit," but he agrees with our Kirk take. But
I have to apologize too because I left off one captain. I actually left off Archer.
Yes.
Which is, I would say he's above Kirk, but below everybody else.
Wow, okay.
He's above Pike. Come on.
Right. No, Pike is so like, okay.
We'll get into that in a minute. Before we start, let's go ahead and Jason, remind everybody of your list, and then Jared's going to give his list, and then we'll have the debate. So,
I can't remember what I said last week. All right, what I said. I said Picard, Cisco, Janeway. And then did I go Pike, Suru, and then I kind of skipped over, and then I put everybody else above Kirk. I didn't say Burnham, I didn't say Georgiou, and I didn't say Lorca. So
you had like a doppelganger, didn't you? Didn't you have like a mirror one too? That was like you said.
Yeah, Lorca was the mirror. It's the mirror universe captain. Oh, and the Kelvin Kirk and regular Kirk, I lumped them all together into one bad Kirk. But Archer, it's still above Kirk, you know. Okay. Mostly because he's got Scott Bakula credit, you know. He's got the quantum going for him. But Kirk is definitely last. Picard. And
I have your first two swapped. I put Cisco at the top because. All right, there's a lot of things we can say about Picard. He's poised. He's confident. He can tell you exactly how many lights there are. But he like
4 lights.
But Cisco occasionally, and some of probably my favorite things in Trek occurred when Cisco was playing a little bit in the gray area. When he was hunting down Eddington, he straight up ruined a Maquis planet.
Yeah, he committed a war crime.
Eddington out of high. Yeah, damn near a war crime. Definitely a crime against nature. I mean, he made it uninhabitable for 5 years. One of my favorite episodes of DS9 is the one where he brings the Romulans into the war. And the whole thing is told from a unique perspective where he's actually recording his captain's log. And he's recounting what has occurred in the last couple of days. And I just saw such a range there. Like an Avery Brooks, man. And then, so I put Cisco up top because of that. I got Picard. I have Archer next. Archer took hold on. Archer took on the Xindi, right? And did work. Then, like, all right, he's a true explorer. Like, you got to see, like, the military aspect of the Federation hadn't been established yet. And when the Makos came on board specifically to like deal with the Xindi threat and everything, you saw what it was like when it was just a scientific vessel. Even though it was an exploratory vessel, I mean, it was pure science and exploration. They had weapons for self-defense, but they weren't great. They didn't have real shields. They had to polarize their whole platings. So, I mean, it was a brilliant. I loved seeing those first couple steps out in the galaxy, knowing everything that follows.
Okay, hold on, Jan. Just stop you right there, Jason. So, why do you have Archer so low, and he has him number 3? What's your reason for him being so low?
This is going to be racist, but he's just another white guy. Just. But also, okay, here's my real reason. I never really gelled with Enterprise as a show. I always don't like prequels because a lot of times they change the lore, they mess things up, and also Enterprise wasn't that good of a show. Like they didn't even get a real ending. They got a holodeck ending. So like, the Enterprise crew, they're fun. It's a fun set of episodes, but it's like it's not really like. And that theme song, oh God, the theme song was terrible.
Garbage. Yeah. Lower Decks has a better theme song.
Lower Decks has a better theme song.
All right, well, go ahead.
I put Archer a lot lower just because the whole package is not there for me.
Point against Archer, I understand. Like they fleshed it out in the show really well about why he had such an issue with Vulcans, but that I don't want to say racism, but I guess it's speciesism is kind of against what the whole point of the Federation is. So granted, the Federation didn't exist yet, and he was there to found it. That's another point in his column. He was there to found the original United Federation of Planets.
Hold on. Just because he was like, yeah, I'm going to say, hold on. But even just because he was there to found it, because he was like the racist part of the people that wanted to found it, doesn't make it a good point. Like it's like the slave owner that made the Constitution. It was like, that's not a good point.
No. Yeah. That's fair. I'm saying he starting out, his character was a little specious against Vulcans. And again, they explain it, but again, I disagree with that idea. Although they needed to give him some kind of flaw or something to work towards. By the end of the series, obviously, he shed that preconceived notion.
Okay.
His science officer, T'Pol, was very, very Vulcan and extremely Vulcan. And hot, too, which doesn't...
Yeah, that's another thing, man. I get it. Nowadays, transporters will take off any, foreign whatever. But those decontamination sequences...
Like for some reason she always went down on the planet, and some reason she always had to get
they were like also T'Pol.
Like, yeah, we should send T'Pol. Yeah, she should go. Who else? That's it, right? We don't need to send anybody else.
No dudes.
I mean, I guess we can send Trip just in case, something bad happens.
All right, so go back to this. So this is number 4 now.
After Archer, number 4, Janeway. I mean, I'll argue this till the day I die. She had the best last episode out of any of the Treks, period, end of story. She faced down the Queen of the Borgs, and she straight took her to task. She tricked her. She was smart. The time travel thing with old Janeway, young Janeway, phenomenal. Well executed, great storytelling. I loved every minute of it. And I mean, it was emotional when they get through and they're like, we're exactly where we thought we'd be. And then they a tragic fleet at Earth defending it because they only had like 10 minutes to scramble or whatever. But I mean, that was brilliant. Then I got Pike. Also a point in Janeway's, she never wavered from the founding tenements of the Federation. Like even when it would have been easier, even when it may have saved a life on her end, I don't want to say she took the hard road, but she took the right path every single time, regardless of, and I was like, she was immovable in that regard. And that 2-parter episode where she ran into the other Federation captain,
that's a great one.
And he hadn't, phenomenal. Then I got Pike. And then, I mean, so you threw in a lot of Discovery after just saying you don't like prequels because they screw up everything. And you're right about
Discovery, though. It starts off as a prequel, but ends up as a sequel. So
right. Which is why no other ship ever had a black alert.
Yeah,
in the sport.
Or just travel throughout space and time. And
I love the way the show is filmed. It's beautiful. I think Saru is trash. His whole race is like, I can feel danger until my shit gets cut off, and then they realize they've been lied to for generation upon generation. So they're not the brightest. Fucking crayons in the box. So before I do any of the Discovery captains, and we haven't seen Burnham yet. Burnham gets her official captain this season, so she might jump up the run because she's been a phenomenal character. She cries a lot, like you said.
She cries a lot.
But I put Ed Mercer, the captain of the USS Orville, ahead of any of the Discovery captains.
Oh wow,
because that's better Star Trek than Discovery. Fight me on it.
Jason, any rebuttal to that?
I would say the first season of Discovery, you're right, it is terrible. It is not that good. They changed the lore all over the place. Spock suddenly has a black sister out of nowhere that he never talks about. It's weird. Right. But in season 2, they were like, oh crap, we messed up. So let's start fixing stuff. And that's what they did. They started fixing everything. And they ended up, I don't want to, I mean, I guess it's, it's been 3 seasons, spoiler. They end up in the future, so it's finally like a show that makes sense to me because now they have this future kind of technology in a part of the galaxy or part of the timeline we've never seen before, which is why you want to watch Star Trek in the first place. I don't want prequel stuff. I want see what happens later,
Right.
Well, it gets better. And like that crew, the Discovery crew, to me is probably one of the most like cohesive crews there's ever been because every character, even though they don't really get to see them a lot, has their own like sort of set, like sort of personality. They have quirks, they have faults, unlike, like the Enterprise crews, they're all just like great people, You know, they have assholes in the crew, you know, but they still all work together for the greater good. And it's like, and they all support each other. And it's great to see that. And like a lot of times it brings a tear to my eye when they're patting each other on the back after, you know, surviving a 1,000-year time jump. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so, and they're like, oh, you made it there. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, it's fine. So that's why, like, really it gets better to me.
All right. That Tilly chick is really annoying.
But she's great. That's what's great about her. She annoys you. It's awesome.
It's like, how did you get your commission? Who just nobody was.
You graduate, man. That's all you got to do.
That's true. That is a very true fact.
That person at the bottom of the class at Starfleet still gets ensign, all right?
Yeah.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
And so then Saru's like, I just call him the worst, and then Kirk is trash. So we agree on the Kirk thing. I just
okay. So you
testosterone. Absolutely.
So you believe that Kirk is the worst captain. And even combined in the Chris Pine Kirk, he's still the worst.
Chris Pine makes it even worse.
Oh, I agree. I just wanted to clarify to make sure we're all on the same page for this.
I guess, and maybe it's a little close mind. I don't know. I want the original writers of either Next Gen or even DS9 or Voyager to be given the amount of money and sets that Discovery has, because I want it to look as good as Discovery, because Discovery looks beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. But I want it feels so foreign compared to all the other Treks. That's why I really enjoy the Orville, because it's got that next gen vibe with contemporary humor, and they've done like the second season of that is phenomenal all the way through. And you see the galaxy shift in ways. And I mean, they've only set it up in one season. And then by season 2, things have all flipped on their head, and it's great storytelling. And the ship is phenomenal.
What's also great about the Orville is that Seth MacFarlane is a huge Star Trek fan. Like he basically on the show, like they're like, oh, you can't do Star Trek. It's like, well, I'll do something similar, and that's what he did. It's like he made something that's pretty much a love letter to the best parts of Star Trek, which is really cool to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you know, as me not being a Trekkie, I'm more in the Star Wars thing. From what I hear, I'm feeling like Discovery basically just pulled a Last Skywalker and was like, hey, you know that shit that happened in Last Jedi? It didn't really happen. We're just going to rewrite this and make it all different now.
Those people, they're fired. We got new people.
Right. So I'm glad both franchises like to just, retcon, be like, oh, you know what? We were joking. Or like in what is it, Community, the gas leak?
The gas season.
Season 5. No.
Right.
That was a gas
leak. We don't talk about that. It was just everything was weird that year.